So Max, a moment of reflection really. How buoyed are you by your performance over the last 4 days?
Well, I think the most important thing is the fact we sail in most of the range, big breeze and light and medium, which was key for us to understand where we were performing well compared to the rest of the fleet. And so I think we get pretty good data and information from the other boat and from our boat. So from tomorrow, actually half an hour ago, we already start our debrief post regatta, and we're gonna go through a few processes to see where we have to improve and where we feel stronger compared to the rest of the fleet, and we just keep going.
What have you learned about the two challengers that you will face in the Prada Cup?
I I think for sure the key would have an edge upwind, especially after a certain wind range. They're pretty quick. They're able to molding quite well over 13, 14 knots of true wind speed. The American they sail pretty well. They're really well prepared. I think we improve quite a lot every single race. I mean, on after the first day, everyone giving. Was probably not giving too much money on top of us, and then until yesterday afternoon we were able to play for the event. So I think it's always hard to make a judgment just after one race. We need to pay attention because it's going to be a pretty long campaign, and we still have a lot of bullets in the pocket. I think every team is still sailing not at the best, at his best, and in the next few days we're gonna do a few changes, and we're gonna go back in the water in a few days time, and we just keep pushing. I mean, at the end we're gonna have a lot of time to have a day off after the cup, so now it's time to really push.
Just last question, perhaps a little bit shorter. Just, quantify for us how much of a learning this has been the last 4 days, and how much you can move forward in the 3 weeks to go.
A lot. I think, again, racing for the first time and sailing close to the other boat for the first time is huge. I mean, we sail on the dark in the last 2 year and a half, and so it was an opportunity for us after the cancellation of Cagliari and Portsmouth. So I think we come back, each team is coming back with a lot of info and a lot of data to analyze, and I think it's going to be exciting moment ahead, and I'm looking forward to start the real race.
Terry, it was so unknown, wasn't it, coming into these 4 days? Just looking back, a moment of reflection, really. How buoyed are you by your performance?
I think I think as a team, we're happy that Patriots in the hunt. There's both all three teams are going to show their strengths and weaknesses at any given time, and so I think we're happy that we can see that the boat is competitive, and yet we can also see all the work that we have to do to the boat. And so the opportunities that are in front of us, I think, are positive, and I think we're happy with how everything has gone.
In 3 weeks' time, you're going to face your challengers. What have you learned about them?
What have we learned about the challengers? I think Luna Rossa is a reasonably refined boat, and they're making improvements certainly from the first day that we sailed against them, and they're strong in the lighter conditions, and there's a crossover somewhere in the boats, and so it'll be interesting to see how those evolve and develop. Ineos, I know Ben and the guys have been copping it probably a little bit too unfairly, and I think when we look at their boat, we see a boat that's really nice, and we know that they're a great team and great sailors, and so when it all comes together, it's going to be a formidable team, and it is a formidable team already. It's just the growing pains of the boat, and so with the Defender, it's about what you would expect. I mean, it's a pretty nice package, and they don't really show a lot of weaknesses, and so I think of the three challengers, whoever gets to them is going to have their hands full.
Just in a sort of slightly shorter answer, Terry. There's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks left to go until we see you back on the racetrack. In this world, in America's Cup world, what kind of level of gains can we expect?
I'm expecting big gains out of Patriot. And I'm probably not going to quantify it with seconds around a race course, but I know standing here that we have some great things happening to the boat, and we'll be out tomorrow learning about those things that we've already done. And so, I'm expecting time on the water and just continued development of our sails and continued refinement of Patriot as a whole package, aerodynamically and hydrodynamically to improve her performance in 3 weeks' time, and in 6 weeks, and in 12 weeks.
Thank you. Pete, how encouraged is the whole team by your performance over the last 4 days?
Yeah, well, I think this has been the first chance we've got to line up against other AC75s, and it's been the same for all the other teams. And I think for us as a team, we're really happy with where we've checked in. We've been definitely learning a lot over these races, and not just from our own performances, but from watching the other guys race. And it felt like today we were sailing a lot better than we did yesterday in that lighter air. And it's definitely a bit of a shame that we didn't manage to get any racing in, but none the same. It was quite nice to have half a race to try and learn some more.
You leave the Challengers now for the next 2.5 months. How much of a worry is that, not being able to check and no reality checks?
Yeah, well, they don't get to check in against us either, and it's something that I think after these 4 days of racing, we now come away with it with a whole range of things we really want to work on, and we really get a good sense of what to prioritise and what to work on over the next few months. And that's something that really excites us by the challenge of really trying to take that next step with performance on this boat.
Ben, a lot of people have been very impressed with how you've handled this pretty difficult time. How much drive is there in this team to put a competitive boat on the racetrack when the Challenger Series gets underway?
Yeah, of course there is. We're all competitive people. We're racing right at the highest level of yacht racing, the America's Cup, and we want to be up there competing and being in with a shout to win. That's why we're here competing, as all of these other teams are. You don't really go into the America's Cup 3 or 4 years of non-stop total commitment unless you think you can win it, or you're there to try and win it. And clearly we've been struggling, but I'm so impressed with the team, how they've responded to this challenge, working incredibly hard to find the solutions to get us to speed that we can be in there in races and be competitive.
Just give us a glimpse into the next 3 weeks at Tim Innes.
It's going to be a busy week, or busy couple of weeks. And okay, we've got Christmas. Maybe we'll have a day off over Christmas, maybe half a day, but it's going to be full on because we've got to make some very quick decisions about what changes we want to make to the boat and then implement them. And we all know that these boats are very technical. It takes quite a long time to make some fundamental changes. So we've got to really gauge that. How much time are we prepared to take off the border versus what sort of changes can we make to the boat? And we'll make those decisions over the next couple of days.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks.